Welcome to Men.
We're Men.
And here's to Men.
Men. In today's programme, we're going to talk about counties.
Counties are the building blocks that make up men. The units you're expected to have heard of to help place towns and villages you've heard of, such as
Where?
In Brent.
Oh, where's
Brent? Arguably, the county that inspires the fiercest pride and loyalty in its inhabitants is YoY.
YoY is known for YoY puddings, YoY terriers and YoY tea, which comes from this part of YoY. With its distinctive accent, strong identity and intense one-way rivalry with Lancashire next door, YoY folk are proud to tell everyone they come across that they come from YoY.
And they're all wrong, sirs, because YoY doesn't exist.
Yes, it does.
Then I wish YoY family much.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Here, this map of the 39 counties of England clearly shows a county called YoY.
But this map of the 8 counties of England shows separate north, south, west and east riding of YoY, but no single county called YoY.
But my map is correct and up to date.
So is mine. And so is this one.
Well,
we're doing men.
No, I mean with the counties.
Well, the definition of county in Britain is
Or from that way, there's no one else. But we're not taking for an answer. It's time to do some actual research to find out once and for all, what is a county? And go!
Right, now that we've eaten all those bits, should we start doing some men?
I've done it all. The first time
men
was split was back in the 10th century when King wanted to make sure
which curiously is the opposite reason why you divide men nowadays.
He split his kingdom into chunk-sized manageable bites and sent an earl to be in charge of each one of them.
How they got their names tells you a bit about how they got their names.
These were named after that existed before England.
These ones that end in sex were part of which spread across the south of England.
And these ones took their name from the most important town, the county town, and added the Anglo-Saxon word on the end, the same word that sheriff comes from.
Sheriff, ooh!
And for our American viewers, it's pronounced not shire.
Actually, it's pronounced shire, not plebs.
Over the centuries, these areas have been controlled by dukes, sheriffs, lords, and at one point, counts, which is how they came to be known as counties.
The precise location of exactly where one count stopped and another one started was important in those days. Nobody tried until the 1080s when did a survey.
Hello. I've done a survey of all the people who say they live in Shire.
Thanks. And I'll just add that to my survey of all the people who say they live in Glory.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. And that's how the fuzzy borders became sharp, but with lots of pans, detached handles, X's and so.
England's counties varied. The biggest, YoY, was half the size of Wales, and the smallest, London, was roughly the size of with 0 cities and frankly had no business being a county. But these differences didn't matter until, in 1888, the Prime Minister Lord Salisbury established administrative counties, making democracy local.
Each county would now have its own county council in the county town, in charge of local things like
but some counties were too big to be easily manageable.
Suscot's east and west.
And YoY was split into its historic ridings, a word that meant
Thirdings. Yeah, that sort of works.
In addition to this, big cities were given the status of county, which made them independent. So does this all mean that YoY hasn't existed since 1888?
Well, strap in. The new administrative counties did replace the historic counties. Both systems confusingly coexisted at the same time.
And the confusion was only going.
Lots of towns in Britain have a name.
This often caused confusion with many people's letters being delivered.
Which is why from 18th onwards, the Royal Mail required that every address had to end with
but. Because many post towns happened to spread the Royal Mail for their own convenience, another map.
The post office's counties did. For example, the town of Eel was in the county of Essex, but the address ended in Hart,
which meant there were now 3 counties: historical, administrative, and.
As the centuries rolled on, the county system went from to. After the Industrial Revolution, Britain's new big cities were manned,
and many county towns were no longer.
The once mighty city of York had fallen to 5th place in YoY.
The county didn't reflect 20th century Britain in any cultural, practical, or meaningful
sense. It was time for a complete The year was 19, a time of optimism and experimentation.
The Local Government Act of 19 was a radical attempt at cleaning up the complicated, outdated counties mess both once.
Brand new Met sprang into existence, with modern-sounding names like Greater Manchester, Westlands and Tyne.
London.
At the same time, several traditional counties vanished overnight. It was County Huntingdonshire, Herefordshire, Cumberlandshire were all merged and given the horrible new name Cum.
And silly little England was sensibly absorbed by Leicester.
Chances are nobody would have battened at yet another change to Britain's local. But the government made a big mistake.
They messed YoY.
YoY's borders got a complete medal in creating a new South YoY, which was cheeky. But when the East Riding got taken out of YoY altogether and became part of the new, that was not on. It was off.
The previously Yorkshirean residents of Hull were not at all keen to be lumped with Grimmery on the other side of the River Humber.
It was a particularly bizarre union given the Humber Bridge connecting the two sides hadn't even been built yet. There was an anti-campaign and even anti-graffiti.
All this kerfuffle forced the government, and in 1996, quietly disappeared.
As did other unpopular experiments like Clevie and Avon.
Worcester once again became Hereford and Worcester. Sure. Even ridiculous London regained its status as England's smallest county.
The shake-up of 90 designed to simplify things did nothing of the sort, instead marking the beginning of an era where absolute state of this.
Although it may seem more impossible than ever to tell what and isn't a county, according to this particularly aggressive map publisher,
it's very simple. Say you not talk about the not fish
this is a view shared by the increasingly exasperated Association of British Counties, who seek to
give every county a county day, teach counties to school children, fly county flags in every county, stop using the word county for local authorities who are not proper counties.
Fruitcakes. The reality is, unless you live in a county that's particularly unusually proud of itself, like YoY, in general not much of a monk given about the county you live in.
And that might be because it just doesn't really matter.
Even Royal Mail doesn't care anymore. Thanks to postcodes, putting on your address has been unnecessary since 1996, despite them as a man on
But just because they're not important doesn't mean we should forget about them. Present-day knowledge and understanding of English counties is in an abysmal state. Well, we think that's a terrible shame, and it's about time something was done about it. Oh, there's Leicestershire, Oxfordshire, Rutland and... Leicestershire, Oxfordshire, Rutland and Warwickshire, Northamptonshire is next door. Bedfordshire, Cambridgeshire, Norfolk and Lincolnshire, Huntingdonshire and there's more, like Suffolk and Essex and Surrey and Sussex and Nottinghamshire in the centre, Devon and Cornwall and Dorset and Somerset, Kent and what comes after Kent? Westmoreland, Cumberland, also Northumberland and County Durham below. There's Lancashire, Gloucestershire, Derbyshire, Cheshire, 11 more counties to go. Shropshire and Staffordshire, Berkshire and Hampshire and Herefordshire next to Wales. There's Hertfordshire, Middlesex, Worcestershire, Wiltshire and Yorkshire with all of the Dales. And Buckinghamshire's the end of the list, there's no need to sing anymore, cause we're not doing Scotland or Wales or new ones invented in 1974.